Jacob, we mentioned you spoke with Governor Newsom last night, and he and the president continue to exchange barbs on social media. I'm seeing this morning. What is his message in this moment? As we mentioned, he's also threatened to sue the government.
Yeah, he sure has, Anna, and we're watching for that lawsuit to be introduced into the court. We expect at any minute this morning. He says essentially the contention in the lawsuit is that under this Title 10 of the U.S. Code, the way that they activated, as David was describing, the National Guard to come to the streets of Los Angeles without the permission of the governor, they didn't do it in consultation with the governor, which is part of the way the law is supposed to work, according to what Gavin Newsom told me last night. And then you mentioned those barbs continue between the White House and Governor Newsom directly. Caroline Leavitt and Governor Newsom are going back and forth right now. Governor Newsom responded to a tweet from Caroline Leavitt by saying, Caroline, there were no unsolved problems until Donald Trump created them. Now the governor has to send in more law enforcement to clean up Trump's mess. Trump can end this now, rescind the order, and return the guard to the governor's command. Trump created this mess. We'll clean it up. And that's what Governor Newsom has been saying all along here, is that the images that you're seeing on your screen right now are only such as they are because of the increased law enforcement presence from the National Guard, and he is looking for the National Guard to return to his control. Anna.
Is there any point in which he would say the National Guard actually is necessary and, in fact, we need more people to come help this out?
The governor hasn't said that yet, but Jim McDonnell, the police chief for the Los Angeles Police Department, that is in charge of about 8,000 to 9,000 officers in the city of Los Angeles, has said just about as much last night in a press briefing that because the situation is now sort of starting to grow, and it is confined to that area, mostly in downtown Los Angeles, he is considering whether or not the National Guard would be helpful to him in their efforts to do crowd control in the city of Los Angeles.
And, Jacob, you also spoke with border czar Tom Homan, who's been on the ground there. He's now pushing back on an answer he says was taken out of context when he said anyone who obstructs the immigration enforcement efforts there would be arrested, including Governor Newsom, including L.A. Mayor Karen Bass. Listen to what he told Morning Joe.
We did a 20-minute interview, and he cuts out a little clip that makes me and takes my words out of context. Here's what we said. And he talked about when I talked about these people that are these protests and rioting. When they cross the line, they got that. Well, here's why I said they have a right to protest. They have the First Amendment rights, but they can't cross that line. When he asked the questions, that include Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom, I was clear they haven't crossed the line, but they're not above the law either. If they commit a crime, they certainly will ask for prosecution. That's what was happening. I never threatened to arrest Governor Newsom, so I'm not biting off on that.
Jacob, do you want to set the record straight?
Yeah, sure thing. Tom Homan said we cut a clip and took his words out of context. We did anything but. In fact, we presented the clips in their entirety in all of our airings, including in our reporting on NBCnews.com. He said that it was dishonest reporting. Couldn't be further from the truth. It was completely honest. I'll let our viewers watch both of those interviews, clips of them right now for themselves. Here you go. And there have been threats, previously that if you stand in the way of your enforcement operations, you could be subject potentially to arrest. Are you saying that about Mayor Bass and Governor Newsom? Are they at risk of being arrested?
I'll say it about anybody. You cross that line. It's a felony to knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien. It's a felony to impede law enforcement from doing their job.
Do you think that the mayor of LA is doing that?
If she crossed that line, we'll ask the DOJ to prosecute. Do I think she's crossed the line? I don't think she's crossed the line yet.
He did not rule out literally arresting you, nor Mayor Bass, if you interfere in his words. He said you hadn't yet.
He's a tough guy. Why doesn't he do that? He knows where to find me.
So right there in both of the interviews you heard, Tom Homan said, I don't think she's crossed the line yet. And I said directly to Governor Newsom, he said you hadn't yet. So it's right there on the tape. I don't know what Tom Homan had seen, but we were very clear in giving the full context of the statement that he did not believe that Governor Newsom had crossed a line yet, nor did Mayor Bass, but he reserved the right to arrest them if they did, which is what Governor Newsom responded to in the clip that Tom Homan saw.
Right.